Recently I dropped my bass and smashed the pickguard, so I decided to buy a new pickguard, and that led me down a rabbit hole of which I am still yet to return. Replacing the pickguard turned into replacing electronics, which turned into replacing the hardware, and it doesn't stop there. So I started documenting this process, and maybe you can learn something from my mistakes and maybe improve your bass in the process. Warning, I am not a professional luthier. If you try any of this advice, please do your own research, and if you ever run into any trouble, seek help from a professional. So this is probably going to be a few different videos. In this video, we're going to look at changing the hardware. So for hardware, I needed to buy a bridge and some new tuners. The tuners will affect the smoothness of the tuning of the strings and the ability to stay in tune. It will also affect the weight of the bass and the look of the bass. I decided to go for Hipshot Ultralite tuners. I've heard good things about these, and they're one of the lightest on the market. The bridge will also affect the weight and look of the bass, but it's also supposed to have an impact on the tone and how well the strings resonate. It's also the mechanism for intonating the bass, and you can also change the string spacing. I've opted for a Hipshot Kickass bridge. I guess they've tried to pay homage to the famous Badass bridge, which is also a very popular choice. First thing you'll need to check when buying a bridge is that the holes of the bridge match the holes of the bass. This one just about did. It was a little off, but I managed to get all the screws in without drilling new holes. You can buy a bridge that doesn't match the holes on the bass, but then you have to drill new holes. I don't feel like I'm experienced enough for this, so I avoided this scenario. When fitting, you will also need to make sure the ground wire is touching the bridge. Another thing to take into account is the weight. If the neck of the bass is too heavy and you get something called neck dive, then more weight at the bridge end might help balance that out. If you're looking to lighten your bass in general, then a lighter bridge might be the way forward. This is what my old bridge weighed, and this is what the new bridge weighs. So it's slightly heavier. We'll see how that affects the balance of the bass. The final thing you can think about is the look of the bass. I decided to try black hardware this time, so I purchased everything in black: the bridge, the tuners, the string tree, the knobs, and the input jack. So you can use the bridge to adjust the string height, the intonation, and also the string spacing. On this bridge, the string height is adjusted by using the Allen key here. So you want it high enough so there's no fret buzz, but also low enough so it's comfortable to play. The truss rod, which is responsible for how straight the neck is, also plays a big part in the string height. I will address this in more detail in a future video. Your intonation will need to be adjusted if your frets aren't accurately sounding the correct pitch. On this bridge is adjusted with a Phillips screwdriver here. Okay, check the pitch of the open string, the harmonic at the 12th fret, and the 12th fret itself. They should all create the same pitch. If the note is sharp, move the saddles back. If the pitch is flat, then move the saddles forward. It will usually create a formation like this, where the G string is the furthest forward and the E string is the furthest back. So my initial thoughts on this bridge are that it looks great. I did not observe any noticeable difference in tone or sustain, but a lot of the time these things are a small part of a greater equation. So we'll look at how it sounds at the end of the project. So like I said before, the tuners can improve the stability of the tuning of the bass, and they can also change the weight of the bass, but there are a few more things to consider whilst picking your tuners. First, you need to check what size holes you have in your headstock. Remove one of your current tuners and measure the hole. Is it 1/2 inch or 3/8 of an inch? Older style basses, such as the Fender P bass, is usually 1/2 inch. Then there's the option of bass side tuners and treble side tuners. A bass side tuner has the tuning shaft protruding from the right side of the tuner. Right hand P basses need bass side tuners. Check what your model of bass needs before purchasing. What side of the tuner's on, and is it a left-handed bass or a right-handed bass? The next consideration is the shape of the tuning peg. There are many choices here, but the most common is clover or Y. I have gone with the clover as it fits the aesthetic of the precision bass. I decided to go with the Hipshot Ultralite tuners as they get talked about a lot, so I thought I'd give them a try. The upside of this is that I got high quality tuners that are a lot lighter than my original tuners. The downside is that the screws didn't match up, which meant I needed to drill new holes. This is pretty straightforward, but it just left the old holes exposed. I'm okay with this though. So here's what it looks like overall. The tuners feel great and I like the look so far. The tone hasn't noticeably changed, but now I'm going to tackle the electronics. So wish me luck. Fingers crossed that video will come out in the near future, so if you're interested in that, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell as well. Thanks very much.